So I got into writing actually quite late in many ways. I mean, I ran youth theatres. I wrote plays for that with those youth theatres. And then I went off into producing, and then I got into writing kind of in my mid-30s, by which point I thought, I've got to write, because if I don't write, I'm never going to do it. And it was just always part of me. And it was like having the little voices in your head that talk to you, and you kind of see things and you kind of go, I want to write that down and I want to get that across, and I need to do something with them, because otherwise they'll make me go mad. Quite often what I'll do is I will think of an actor that I would love to write for, and then I think of that actor in that part, and I kind of build it up from there with them, really thinking about them playing that part and just where it might go to with it. And the other things that I do is, like I said, I do the 10 questions that John Yorke did, constantly thinking, what does a character want? What does that character need? What's stopping them from getting it? Are the obstacles big enough? What will make it worse? And because of having worked on EastEnders, hearing the drums all the time and knowing that, you know, as a writer, part of your job is to stop people leaving that room to go and put the kettle on and make a cup of tea. You want them to stay there because they're constantly seeing something that is surprising them, that is subverting what they thought they were going to see. I would say Billie Jacksons' funeral that I did, I'm incredibly proud of. It was a very emotional episode to write. Carol had been pushing the whole family away, wouldn't let them come to the funeral. And as I was writing it, my script editor said, I really hope you're crying whilst you're writing this, because you should be, and I hadn't been. And it was partly because I think I didn't quite want to go to the place where Carol was. And when I came to the scene where Carol was following the hearse in a car with Blossom and Alan, and she looked ahead and she saw that hearse, and what I did when I was writing was I went, that is my son in that coffin. And it just hit me right here, and it was like a punch to the guts. I burst into tears. I was Carol, and I just wrote through tears the rest of that scene. And when other people read that scene, they had exactly the same reaction. They burst into tears at exactly the same moment that I did, and the audience had that same big reaction as well. And I was incredibly proud to be able to show this proud woman letting people in to see the crack of what was in her, and how vulnerable she was, and to have Lindsay Coulson play that. I mean, Lindsay Coulson is just a phenomenally good actor. So it was just such a privilege. What I would say for emerging writers is this is a marathon, not a sprint. Don't feel that you have to write one script and then that is it. You've got to go on and get commissioned on the shows. The second commission I ever got is the only time I've ever been sacked. And actually it was because I wasn't ready for it. I was nowhere near ready to cope with the demands of actually what working on a show was. I needed to go away and do an apprenticeship. I needed to build my writing muscles up so I could go back into a writer's room and know what I was doing and be confident about what I was doing. So I'd say don't feel that you have to be in a hurry to get there. People often worry that they're going to miss the boat, and the advice I would say is there's always more than one boat. You make your own luck. What you want to do is you want to watch TV, analyse it, read scripts, write scripts, rewrite scripts, rewrite scripts, rewrite scripts. Get really good, get your armoury ready so that you can then go out and be ready to work in those shows. Don't give up, always be lovely. I know that people think you can lose your voice working in continuing drama or in a soap, or that you're going into a sausage factory. My experience is it couldn't be more different. Actually, the brilliant thing about working in continuing drama is that you write a script, they make it, and they show it. And one of the best things you can learn as a writer is seeing what happens with that piece of work that you've made on screen, and then you learn so much from it. So there's that whole thing about just, it's kind of whether it's your apprenticeship or just toughening up those muscles, or just having that chance of writing stories that then get filmed and then get shown. But also what the shows cry out for is that original voice, and it's the fact that actually I can read a script of another writer on EastEnders. We do 250 episodes a year, and I'll know who that writer is because I know what their voice is and what their take is. And if you can get your voice out there and heard on continuing drama, I think you'll do very, very well in all the other fields of drama, because it's one of the toughest places to do it. My 3 Desert Island DVDs. Okay, the Sopranos box set of the entire series, because I think The Sopranos has the most amazing characters. I mean, Tony Soprano, James Gandolfini, love him, bless him. And he's just, you have somebody who is a monster who you absolutely love and you really care for because it's so complex. And what The Sopranos did was it showed characters in very, very complex ways, but very simply, and just, it was funny and it was shocking and it was surprising and it was just magic, and I ate that up. So Sopranos is one. The second one is a TV series called Ultraviolet that was by Joe Ahern, which was on Channel 4, and it was about a government task force who exist to get rid of vampires, and vampires are just there in the everyday normal life, and it was stunning. Idris Elba was in it, and it had I think it was episode 5, and the penultimate ad break had one of the best hooks you've ever seen of Idris Elba in a warehouse, the sun going down, 3 coffins on a time lock about to open with 3 vampires inside and no weapons around for him to get out. Absolutely amazing. And then what would my third one be? I would say possibly it would have to be The Killing, because again, I would choose to have a box set that had all 3 series in it, the original production. Just because, again, it was something that it just absorbed you. Those characters were so brilliant, they were so complex. Sarah Lund was so fantastic. You never knew what was going to happen. The story would creep up on you, surprisingly. And they just really went into depth with those different characters. So that first family who lost their daughter, and you just spent all this time with them and you didn't know what was going to happen, but the characters were just so absolutely brilliant and so brilliantly interwoven, and it didn't matter they were speaking another language because you could just get it.